Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are in Strangerville. Yes, we are in Strangerville. I don't think I've been here, at least on the channel. I don't think I've been here since the pack came out. I don't know if that's entirely true. I can't remember. I literally can't remember the last time I was here. I did build a starter home for my save file and that stuff, but I don't count that. I would say that I haven't been here to actually just strictly build since the pack was released, so I'm so excited to be back here. And before we get too far into the build, I did want to remind you guys to like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And if you did not know, I do have channel memberships, which means that you could become a channel member, get 24-hour early access to videos, see behind the scenes photos, and you get really fun loyalty badges next to your name. It's kind of cute. A lot of people may not be aware of the membership functionality on YouTube, so I figured I would mention it in a video, which feels super weird, but we're just gonna go with it. And as you can see, the exterior is kind of coming together at this point. So this lot, it is actually a multi-purpose lot. So there is a saloon or a bar. I like saloon because it's kind of like an old Western thing, you know? And there's also a diner. So technically, I think I'm saving this lot as a restaurant. So you could run it as either a restaurant or a bar. Now, when you have a restaurant lot, you will get a mixologist for, I'm gonna say for free, and I'll explain why I said that, but you will get a mixologist for free because I believe one of the requirements is actually that you have a bar at a restaurant. So the saloon will be functional if you run it as a restaurant, plus you get the bonus of having a wait staff and the ability for your Sims to go out for like an evening meal. I was kind of thinking this was more of like a crack of dawn on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning kind of diner place. And I really liked that idea, especially for Strangerville. But if you also run it as a bar, it will work. Well, at least the saloon side will work because you'll obviously get a bartender or a mixologist. However, the restaurant won't function. So I figured a restaurant was the best way to kind of do it. This could complicate things in Strangerville though, because there is part of the story as you kind of unravel it. You are advised to go to the local bar to talk to military personnel and or scientists and stuff like that. Now, I wasn't really able to playtest this because it would have meant that I would have had to have gone through some gameplay in solving the Strangerville mystery. I wasn't able to tell if those military personnel will still show up. Now, there are random military personnel that are walking around Strangerville pretty much all the time, so it might not cause an issue, but I did want to highlight it just in case. Now you can see that the shape is almost completed here. Now what you'll probably notice from the thumbnail, or you might not have, I don't know, is I actually did flip this lot. I liked it better the other way. So the way that we're building it right now, I flip it. And the only reason I mention that is because the entire build is done prior to me flipping it. I had to go, like, let me just tell you this. I had to go onto a like 50 by 50 lot in Newcrest to take every single individual piece. If you think about it like the porch, that's what it's called. The porch that's kind of surrounding the saloon, the upper level and everything. I had to separate every single room and I had to piece things back together like a puzzle to flip it onto the other side of the white building over there, the diner. So it took a lot more effort than I thought it was going to, but I really like the end result and you'll see it in the screenshots. I just wanted to call out that difference because it's very obvious to me, even though it might not be super obvious to all of you. But you can see that I did use these shelves and then those little decorative pieces from Cottage Living to kind of add a little bit more decoration to the windows. I was kind of noticing in a lot of reference pictures that the windows had some more kind of decorative pieces to them. And I didn't know how else to bring that to life without using the shelves and everything. And I do a lot of it inside the diner as well, which made me really, really happy. I was kind of proud of it. It's not perfect. I probably could have used the tool mod and made some really, really cool things, but I'm still not great with using the tool mod. And at the time I just didn't have it installed in my game. So I didn't use it. I just kind of used what I could and finagled things the ways that I could within the game without any mods or anything like that. And now upstairs above the diner, this is actually going to be an apartment. So you guys will see that nearer towards the end. The thought process here was that there was like an elderly couple that lived here. They have lived above the diner forever. They own the diner as well as the saloon, and they just have like this really cute apartment. Maybe they just never had a family of their own. They never like bought a house. They just really loved running these businesses, and maybe they were passed along in the family. I'm not really sure, but you can see that the diner, I think it's so cute. I thought it really, really fit Strangerville, but what I had to kind of work with was how modern everything looks from Dine Out. So I used that door, which is a little bit more modern than I'd like, but I thought it worked for the fact that this was a restaurant. Same with the bathroom door, a little bit modern, as well as the chef station. I used this one that kind of, I'm not going to say pokes through the wall, but the one that is literally situated to have an open window through a wall. I thought it looked really nice. I thought it really kind of captured that diner vibe that I was going for. And the interior is pretty small, so there are only 3 tables inside. There's 2 out on the front porch, and there's a few bar stools because every diner I've gone to has a bar that the regulars might go up to. They always have their bar stool and like their regular meal waiting for them, that kind of thing. And here I am using those shelves to kind of try to cover up some of these elements of the chef station that just seemed a little bit out of place. It looks okay. Like I said, I probably could have used the tool mod and maybe made it a little bit cleaner, but I still think it looks pretty good, so I can't wait to hear what you guys think. I just wanted it to blend a little bit more with the color scheme and the materials that I had inside the diner, and here I am using those shelves, sizing them up to kind of create, would they be considered rafters? Not really. It's kind of just like adding an inside trim. That's what I'm going to go with. But then I also use these little decorative pieces from Cottage Living as well to make it look like it's kind of supporting the trim. It just seemed like a nice decorative thing to do, especially since we can't paint ceilings or really do anything with ceilings to make them tie in. I was even considering doing wooden beams across the whole thing, but I thought it might be kind of overkill with all of the other things that I was trying to do. And now here I am trying to find some decorations to put on the walls because many diners that I've gone to have been completely plastered with things on the walls. And I'm thinking of, there's this one little cafe that I went to. They're like a country store as well as a cafe, and they have just tons of pictures of like either famous people that have come there to visit or of different newspaper clippings where they've been highlighted. Just things that make you really take notice of how integrated the business or cafe or whatever is with the community, and to kind of show how long they've been there. So I thought that that was something that I really wanted to emulate in here. Now, we don't have too many things like photographs that I could have used to do this, but I tried to use different pieces of artwork that I thought might work and kind of get that across. There's that My First Simoleon thing that's framed from Get to Work. We also have that clock with the desert landscape from Strangerville that I thought was perfect. And there's the bulletin board. I thought this would be a great place for all the locals to kind of come in and check for maybe odd jobs or to kind of just catch up on news, see if there's any like, I don't know, any fun workshops to take somewhere. I'm just trying to think of like a community cork board. I just thought that would be a really nice addition to this interior. And then above the little chef station window opening, I did decorate just with a few different things. I didn't want to clutter it up too much just because the wallpaper and all of the wall decorations were kind of busy enough. I didn't need to go too heavy with it. And I was really, really grateful that the hostess station actually had a dark brown swatch, even though it's more of kind of a modern, I don't know, kind of a modern look to it. At least it matched. Same with the waiter station that I was able to put by the bathroom door. Ugh, now that I say that as a sentence, that was kind of gross, but it's the only place where they could go, and it kind of made sense to me, so. And back here is going to be the kitchen. Now with the chef station, you don't need, to my knowledge, you don't need a fridge, you don't need a stove, a sink, all that stuff. You don't need an actual kitchen, you just need the chef station. But I thought it might not be a bad addition. Besides, it just makes it look a little bit more realistic. So I did add some countertops, overhead cabinets. I added the fridge from Cottage Living. There is a sink and a dishwasher and a microwave. I don't think I actually ended up adding an additional stove just because it really wasn't necessary, but I might actually do it. No, I did do it. I did add an extra stove in here. Would you just look at that? I use a lot of Cottage Living too, just because it's very rustic. A lot of those items are rustic and they really fit in with the look that I was going for, along with cats and dogs. Those packs together work so beautifully for me. I am just so thrilled with how everything turned out. But I am just cluttering up that little kitchen right now, just adding a few more things that kind of make it look like this is where all of their supplies are. Like, this is a very small diner. They don't need a lot of storage space. And then this is going to be the one and only bathroom in the diner. I think there's 2 bathrooms in the saloon itself. And then of course the apartment above the diner has its own bathroom, but this is the one and only bathroom, and it was a big size, which kind of made me happy. With the diner being so cramped, this felt like a good spot to have a little bit more room. So I did go ahead and add the toilet and sink here, and I loved using those sconces from Cottage Living, and this mirror from Get Together really just tied it together for me. I was so thrilled. I also made the bathroom a little bit less cluttered. It didn't have to be crazily cluttered and decorated like the rest of the diner, but there is just one painting there. And then I just used the paper towel thing from Get to Work. I was about to say Get Together, from Get to Work. And then I just add another painting, and we end up moving on to the saloon part of the build. And I really enjoyed the saloon. It was a little bit difficult to figure out a floor plan though, because realistically, this was actually a pretty small space. There really wasn't a lot of room, but what I end up doing is I end up using just wood paneling through everything, thinking that this building is just older. Like, maybe they put new siding on because the wood was starting to kind of fall apart and not be the best quality, kind of like next door at the diner. Picking up what I'm putting down. So they put new siding on it, but inside is still like wood paneling and everything. And I decided to create my own custom bar back here because, oh my gosh, it was a couple weeks ago now when I think it was part 3 of my Let's Build a Pub. And the cutting board from Cool Kitchen actually blocks out the light on these base game alcohol shelves. That's what I'm gonna call them. I would call them alcohol shelves, even though that might not be the name for them. But I was so shook because it allowed me to then use these with different color schemes, and it kind of blocks out all of the scrapes and cuts that are in the cutting board because it kind of has that texture. So I created my own bar back using the same exact cabinets and countertops that I used over in the diner. And I thought it came out so cool. And I did it in the pub. That was kind of when I discovered it, and it's a smaller bar back. So again, it is still kind of custom, if you will. And I wanted to use a bunch of military flags and kind of put some military paraphernalia in here, just because it is definitely a overarching theme in Strangerville. And I was thinking that maybe the husband, because I was thinking it was a husband and a wife that owned the diner and the saloon. I'm thinking that the husband was maybe previously in the military, so he has a very strong connection with the military personnel in Strangerville, and maybe this was actually where he was last stationed and he just never left. It's kind of a fun story to think about, but I did add a sink and a dishwasher back there, and now I'm adding a few different things to the bar, but I don't really overclutter it. There's like maybe a single menu and a flower arrangement, maybe that oil lamp. I don't even remember what I end up keeping. And now there are 2 bathrooms over there. One I was more so thinking was for employees behind the bar, but you can't really designate that unless you have a sim purchase this restaurant and or bar. It would have to be a restaurant because your Sims can't own a bar, but if they were to purchase this restaurant, you could then restrict access to certain areas. But if you are just simply plopping this down in your world and your Sims are visiting the slot, I'm pretty sure they can use whatever bathroom they'd like. And I'm pretty sure they'd be able to access the apartment. So it really fit the story, and I tried to just make it as functional as I possibly could. But here I did put the big jukebox from Strangerville as well. It fits perfectly in here. I used a dance floor from Get Together, though I do swap it out with the one that's taped together cardboard boxes because I just thought it fit the aesthetic so much more. And I was thinking that the owner of the saloon was just like, I'm not putting in a shiny new dance floor. That's not happening. You guys get cardboard boxes and you can square dance all you want. Like, on these cardboard boxes, it makes no difference. That was kind of my thought. And the reason my mind went to square dancing is because I used to live in Texas. So when I was building this saloon, because there were many a saloon where I lived in Texas, and going out, there was always a dance floor because of course you're going to be square dancing or doing some kind of group dance. I'm not very good at it. Don't look at me for advice or tutorials or anything. I can't do any of them, but we're just decorating the 2 bathrooms downstairs, and then we end up moving on to the upstairs where there are going to be a few different activities, just kind of some fun things to get away from the bar area, I suppose. Like if you wanted a little bit more of a quiet environment, you might just go upstairs because there's a jukebox and I think there is a dance floor, but I did add, I want to say, did I add a couch? Did I put a couch upstairs? I think I did. Yeah, I did. I did put one upstairs. So now we're moving on to the second story where, again, there is a jukebox here, another dance floor, and you are going to see in the screenshots that things look just a little bit different, only because of that orientation of the buildings that I ended up mentioning a little while ago. I was originally thinking I might put some longer dining tables up here just to kind of extend the eating space for the diner next door, but I really wanted these buildings to kind of quote unquote stand alone. They're attached, like they're not standing alone, but you know what I mean. I wanted them to be their own unique businesses. I didn't want them to kind of function as one singular unit, which of course I don't have much control of in The Sims, but it was the thought that counts. There's a foosball table up here. This is the couch that I was just thinking about, trying to remember if I had included it or not. There's also a coffee table, so it's kind of a nice little seating area, but what you'll see is that it ends up being on the other side of the room, which I don't really mind at all. Or does it? I can't remember. No, I think it actually stays here. I don't know. You guys will see in the screenshots, but it's very plainly decorated. I was kind of running out of different wall decorations that I could put on the walls up here without repeating what was downstairs, and to still have them kind of fit the whole look of the build itself. I probably could have used the different swatches of those pub signs from Cottage Living like 4 or 5 different times, but I didn't really want to do that. And luckily there was a lot of windows, which meant a lot of curtains, which meant less wall space that I had to try to fill up. But there's a don't wake the llama table up here. There is the foosball table, and that is pretty much it for the activities upstairs, but it is likely going to be a little bit more quiet than downstairs. I actually, when I was playtesting this, everyone was gathering downstairs at the bar compared to going upstairs and taking part in any of the activities, so it's bound to be a little bit more quiet. And I'm just adding a few different decorations here, just kind of adding some final touches to this room. Again, using those military pendants so much, trying to use almost every single swatch because it makes a great wall decoration and it really ties in with, of course, the world that this was built in. And then we end up moving on to the apartment above the diner. And guys, I really liked it. I really, really did. It was a little bit difficult because it is a little bit small. I was almost thinking of making it kind of like a big studio apartment. However, I was able to divide up the floor plan. There's actually a little entryway. There is one bathroom and one bedroom, and then the kitchen and living room are kind of combined. I would say there almost isn't a living room to be totally fair, but I don't think that this couple spends a lot of time up in their apartment. They're always running their business. They're always downstairs in their respective diner or saloon, just engaging with the community and talking to their friends and catching up on Strangerville whispers and gossips and things like that. But this is going to be their bedroom. I use this beautiful bed from Cats and Dogs, probably one of, I was gonna say was my favorite, but that's difficult to say. It's one of my favorite beds in the game. They do have a dresser over here. They have a few decorations on top, and I think I add a mirror and a few other things. By the way, I love this wallpaper too that I used in their apartment and the diner. I think it's base game, if my memory is serving me correctly, which I was shook to realize because I didn't know that at all. I used it only one other time ever, and it was in a starter home that I did for my save in Windenburg. I'd never used it before, but I really, really liked it, especially for this build. And then we end up moving on to the kitchen and the living room. Again, it is super, super small, and I kind of repeated a lot of assets from the downstairs as well, just because, again, it's just like one big giant building, so I was thinking that it's all original and they really haven't done too much to it. But the kitchen ends up being along this back wall, and again, when I flipped the buildings, these windows are actually gone, which is kind of nice. It allowed for, I don't know, I actually kind of allowed it to feel a little bit more open, oddly enough. I feel like windows make things feel a little bit more open and bright, but in the kitchen here, since this room was so small, it kind of made it feel a little enclosed, so it was kind of nice to get rid of the windows. And then this is going to be the little tiny living room space. Now I put one of those, I want to say this is a fabricated TV, right, from Eco Lifestyle. It looks like the TV from the first Sims game. I really, really liked it, so I put that in the living room. I gave them each an armchair, thinking that they just don't spend time here. They're not watching TV a lot unless they're watching maybe the morning news. and maybe their stories at night, right? Like, that's pretty much it. And I do give them a very small dining table. It was difficult to find a place that was somewhat appropriate to place it, but I end up putting it right behind the 2 armchairs, and I think it works. Now, when I play tested it, it all actually worked. Like, my Sims were able to use everything, but it just looks kind of awkward. Maybe what they actually do is they go down to the diner and maybe they make breakfast together in the diner before they open for the day. Oh, wait, that would be really cute, wouldn't it? I really like that idea. That's what I'm thinking. So they don't even use their kitchen upstairs or their little dining table. They don't really care. It's really just there just in case they need it. Now, I do put a bookcase over here in this little hallway, and then in the entryway there is a dresser. I want to say I leave a dresser there, and then there's also just a little console table with some pieces of artwork. I just wanted to kind of decorate the place and of course make it look lived in and very homey. I didn't want it to look as though they're actually never here, but later on I think I end up swapping out the dresser that I put in the front with 2 china cabinets just to have some additional storage. I thought, why not? And at the almost end of the build, I decided that they were going to have at least 1 cat, but I didn't include a litter box, which I was so frustrated about. Watching this footage back, I didn't include one. And I guess at the end of the day, for storytelling, it would be great, but I don't really think that most of you will be using the apartment, though there is that mod. So for PC players, there's a mod that allows you to do that. That might be kind of nice, like living on a restaurant lot, but there's a thought. Anyway, we are almost at the end of the build, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. I appreciate you sticking through another rambly voiceover because I don't know what I'm hopped up on, but I'm pretty sure it's caffeine. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you next time I post a video. Bye!
Tunes and homemade booze, but it always goes too far. Shooting pool, crack a jack, take off now and don't look back. But hey, don't you wanna play? Hold on, sugar, why you look so sad? Come on now, mama, ain't nothing here so bad. You got fast cars, movie stars, party on down the street with Mary Jane, good cocaine, plenty down there to eat. You can double down, throw some dice, you can take off now, don't think twice. But hey, don't you wanna play? Baby, come on.